Hey everyone, and welcome back to the FAQ Shack. This is the show where we take your biggest questions about your favorite worlds and, well, we break them down. And today, oh man, we're tackling a big one, especially with the TV show getting everyone hooked. Let's get right into it.
So this explainer comes to us from a listener, Atomic Atom, who asked, can you break down what led to the world of Fallout? The TV show got me hooked. Adam, fantastic question. It's really the perfect place to start for anyone, new or old, to this universe. And hey, for everyone listening, if you've got a burning question you want us to tackle, you know what to do. Drop it in the comments below. You might just see it in a future explainer.
All right, before we get into any of the history, the dates, the bombs, we have to start right here with these four little words. War never changes. This isn't just some cool tagline for the games, It is the absolute fundamental truth of the entire Fallout universe. It's this promise that no matter how futuristic things get, humanity's darkest instincts are always right there, waiting.
Now, the end of the world, it didn't just happen out of the blue. It was more like a slow-motion car crash that took place over 25 years. And the whole thing was driven by one single, inescapable problem. The world was running out of oil. And when the resources started to dry up, well, so did any sense of global cooperation.
You can literally watch the world fall apart on this timeline. It all kicks off in 2051, when the US invades Mexico for its oil. Then by 2060, Europe pretty much dissolves into chaos after their own disastrous war in the Middle East. And then comes the main event, 2066. China invades Alaska, the last big source of oil. And now the world's two biggest superpowers are locked in this brutal, decade-long fight. America gets so desperate, it just absorbs Canada in 76 to protect the pipeline. And even though the US eventually pushes China out of Anchorage in January of 77, the war isn't over. Not at all. Now everybody's just standing there with their finger hovering over the big red button. And this quote from the games, man, it just says it all, doesn't it? Too many humans, not enough space or resources. You can forget all the high-minded politics and the flags. At the end of the day, the world ended for the oldest reason in the book: basic, flawed human nature. So for years, the entire planet was just this giant powder keg, holding its breath. And on a quiet Saturday morning in October, someone finally lit the match.
October 23rd, 2077. Remember that date. For the people living in the Fallout world, that was the last normal day. The last sunrise, the day everything just stopped.
It all started at 9:13 in the morning Eastern Time. The Integrated Operational Nuclear Detection System, what a mouthful, well, it detected 4 missile launches. That's it. That's how it began. The air raid sirens start to scream. The end of the world had officially begun. Just 13 minutes later. Think about that. 13 minutes is all it took. At 9:26, NORAD confirms it's the real deal, and the President of the United States gives the order for a full-scale nuclear retaliation. The point of no return had been crossed. And then by 9:47, the sky starts to fall. Washington, D.C., Boston, major cities are just wiped off the map in a blinding flash of light. National command centers go dark. The entire system was being decapitated in real time. And here is, without a doubt, the most terrifying fact in the entire Fallout story. The whole thing, the entire global nuclear war that destroyed civilization as we know it, it only lasted 2 hours. 2 hours from the first launch to the last impact. That's all it took to burn the world down. Okay, so all of this destruction, this absolute end of everything, it leads us to our listener mail segment and really the ultimate question, the one fans have been arguing about in forums for decades. So who actually did it? Who fired first? And the simple and kind of frustrating answer is, we don't know for sure. The lore has never pointed to one single culprit, but what it has done is give us a few very, very compelling suspects. So suspect number 1 is China. It makes sense, right? They were losing the war for Alaska, they were desperate, and they knew the US was cooking up some truly horrific bioweapons, like the FEV virus. A last-ditch, desperate strike? It's a very plausible motive. But then, there's the United States itself. What if they saw the writing on the wall, knew that nuclear war was inevitable, and decided to strike first to gain some kind of advantage? A grim but strategic possibility. And then there's the darkest theory of all, Vault-Tec, the very company building the shelters. We know from in-game lore that their leadership literally discussed starting the war themselves just to make sure their twisted social experiments could begin and they could rule over whatever was left. Chilling stuff. But, maybe, we're all asking the wrong question. One of the lead developers on the games, Jesse Heinig, put it perfectly. He said he's less interested in who fired first and more interested in what kind of world created a situation where destroying civilization seemed like the best option to people in power. And really, that's the true horror of it all. It wasn't one person or one country. It was everyone.
So the war itself may have been over in just a couple of hours, but the world it created, that was a permanent nightmare. From the radioactive ashes of the old world, something new, and frankly, something broken began to crawl out. I mean, just think about the shift. One day, you're living in a world of green grass and blue skies. The next day, the planet itself is trying to kill you. The very air is radioactive. The weather is completely out of whack, and the rain can literally burn your skin off. A complete environmental apocalypse. And this new, hostile world gave rise to new inhabitants. You have ghouls, people who were so irradiated they were transformed instead of killed. You have mutated animals like the two-headed Brahmin cows, and humanity itself just shattered. You got the vicious gangs of raiders, the naive vault dwellers emerging for the first time, and the Enclave, the terrifying remnants of the old US government, who think they still run the show. And this, right here, is where we come full circle, back to those 4 words. Because the Great War didn't really end in 2077. Its ideas, its weapons, its hatreds, they all survived. They became the building blocks of this new, broken world, proving, once and for all, war never changes. The ghosts of that old war are absolutely everywhere in the Wasteland. You've got power armor, the ultimate pre-war weapon, now worn by factions like the Brotherhood of Steel. You have old army robots like Mr. Gutsy, still patrolling and following their final orders 200 years later. You even have unexploded nukes that people build entire towns around, like Megaton. But the most dangerous remnant? It's the ideology. The paranoia and the hatred of the old world kept alive by groups like the Enclave, who are more than happy to finish the war that their ancestors started. So that's it. That's the story of how the world of Fallout ended. Not with a whimper, but with a planet-shattering scream that lasted all of 2 hours. And it leaves us with this final, kind of heavy question to think about. If our world ended and you were left standing in the ashes, what would be worth saving? What parts of our civilization would be so valuable that they're worth rebuilding from scratch? Let me know what you think down in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for stopping by the FAQ Shack, and I'll catch you on the next one.